Energy on the set.
3, 4, 5. Welcome, welcome, welcome to 360 Love. I am Edna J. White.
Nicole Christian Gordon.
Dr. Denise Burton.
And we are here today to talk about silence between women.
Yes.
So I guess we'll get it started with Dr. Denise Burton.
Thank you for having me as a guest speaker.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it very much.
Cool.
I wrote The Silence Between Women to help people understand that over the years in their development and growing as women, mothers, sisters, aunts, grandmothers did not tell them the truth, what was happening.
Mm-hmm.
I have several short stories that I focused on. One is about a young woman who was abused. I start with her at the age of 5. And the reason I start with the age of 5 and then I go to different ages in her life is to demonstrate when she went to her grandmother, for example, grandmother told her, just be quiet.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Your mama's working. He's good to you. He pays for you for the things that you need. He pays for your lollipops, your ice cream.
Mm-hmm.
The little girl at the age of 5 didn't know how traumatized she was. She was told to be quiet.
Mm-hmm. So what you're talking about basically is about silencing of trauma. Is that what you're explaining to us? Like, so something physical happened to her. You're talking about sexual trauma. What are you talking about?
Yes,
exactly?
sexual trauma.
Okay.
We're talking about the abuse that goes on at an early age.
Mm-hmm.
And early age, the parents
Mm-hmm.
or grandparents
Right.
don't tell little girls what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
They don't stop the perpetrator.
Mm-hmm.
9 out of 10 times, they don't stop them.
Oh, sure.
They don't explain to the little girl what is happening. And the little girl, or boy,
Mm-hmm.
in some cases, has to be quiet. The thing that's often told to them is be quiet. From being quiet,
Mm-hmm.
you silence that child. You silence the child that's to be a woman.
Okay.
So when the trauma hits and other factors come into that person's environment,
right.
and learning how to adapt to live in the situation, they don't know how to handle it.
Okay.
Because no one tells them what's going on. They don't know how to ask the questions. When you tell a child, be quiet or hush, what does that child do?
Mm-hmm.
They'll whine and they'll get a smack, they're hushed.
Mm-hmm. Right. And I've seen that word being used a lot. And to to explain to you why we're talking about this is we have a collective book coming up that's called No Sweet Meat, and just tells the truth. So it's a few women together, and we're actually telling the myths that we were told
Mm-hmm.
that kind of keep us bound.
Because the way I looked at it, Dr. Burton, and I was very excited about this topic,
Mm-hmm.
I have to say, I wrote quite a bit of notes because we were taught from a very young age to be quiet.
Yes.
I think about home abuse, absolutely. I'm even thinking about social training.
Absolutely.
Social
I
training.
addressed that issue too.
Yes.
I addressed that issue too.
I was thinking of social training.
Right.
And being quiet.
Right.
And not
Yeah, me too.
not making waves.
Right.
Not causing confusion.
That's what I hope
don't idle hands is the devil's workshop,
Mm-hmm.
and
Children should be
seen
and not heard.
Listen to what I say, don't do what I do.
Right.
All of these
Yeah.
ridiculous axioms
Exactly.
that they teach us that mean nothing after we're 18.
Right.
But I thought about silence as a control mechanism.
It is.
And then when we get to the point of building or wanting to build friendship and relationship, we don't have a voice.
No.
We don't know how to express what we feel safe doing it, and no one has given us the ability to no one's told us it's okay.
That's
That
right.
it's okay if you don't know and you just feel you have a feeling and you want to share something. Like you said, hush. And I can't stand when
I
people
can't
just
take
shh.
it either.
Y'all
Oh,
know
hush.
the two
Hush
of you
is
know
like so
that when
bad.
somebody does that
Hush
to
is
me,
so bad.
you know I can't stand that.
Yeah.
Shh.
That's right.
When someone does
Yeah.
that,
Hush is so bad.
it's like nails on a chalkboard.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing is that as a child develops into a woman, she begins to ask questions of herself, but she doesn't have anyone to really go to.
Mm-hmm.
There's another section that takes the young girl on to the next stage of her life as far as being a teenager,
Mm-hmm.
where most teenagers, it's common to rebel, but particularly young female teenagers don't know why they rebel.
Right.
Because in the beginning, we can't see that special child as a sexual being.
Mm-hmm.
And because we refuse
Mm-hmm.
to see them as a sexual being,
Mm-hmm.
we don't want to address it.
Mm-hmm.
And because we don't address it,
Mm-hmm.
it stifles and shuts down any form of development that the child is going to have.
That's right, of course.
So-
of course.
It's on those who are willing to be open.
Mm-hmm.
For example, I'm going to take a sidebar. We don't tell young girls particularly how to take care of themselves when they menstruate.
Of course not.
Okay?
Some do,
Well,
some
in my
don't.
household, we did.
Some do, some
I
do.
learned.
Yeah,
but,
you know.
but the girls today
Right.
and the mothers
Some
today.
people
Well, I don't want to put it all on today because
Well,
that's
I knew girls
yeah.
back in the day.
Day.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, the locker room could have used the refresher. Okay, and that was back in the 80s.
and it was high school,
And it
so
was
that's
high
even
school.
bad.
That's
really
correct.
bad, yes.
We weren't taught how to take care of those things.
But you were taught one thing back in my generation was that you stayed away from anybody because those 7 days you were considered unclean.
Mm.
You didn't know why you were unclean. Hush.
They just told you.
You were told. Hush. No rhyme or reason, explanation
Mm.
is given. Just hush.
Yeah. And I remember, funny, this is funny, you talking about menstruation. I'm a Golden Girls show watcher.
Me too.
And there was an episode with Blanche when they were talking about men having periods.
Right.
And so she said that they in her era, they weren't taught
No.
about the period. So they kept saying, you're 14, you don't have the curse. You're 16, did you get the curse? You're 17, did you get the curse? So they took her to the doctor. And the doctor said to her, Blanche, you're 17, you didn't get your period yet? She said, I had my period for 3 years. It's the curse that I don't have. See, so you see,
Yeah.
perception
Yeah,
is
exactly.
reality.
That's right.
If
That's
we're
right.
taught it's unclean and that it's a curse,
Right.
then that's how we perceive it.
Right.
And if not, then we won't.
Right.
And I was looking at, we have a book out, Move Higher in Your Purpose. And then I wrote Being Your Best at Your One Best Thing. And it talks about doing the opposite sometimes of what seems natural and what you were programmed to believe.
Absolutely.
So forgive when wrong, give instead of take, create versus destroy. We see time again in our lives, sometimes doing the opposite of what we were programmed to do, like be quiet and not have a voice. Sometimes speaking up and having your own voice and owning it has positive results.
Oh, I'm 100% with that because they're silent and that silence that you talk about, like not accepting your sexuality and things like that, then you begin to take that along the way and be silent for
Ever.
everything, ever, forever, and everything.
Ever.
So,
Ah!
so getting involved into a relationship, you're silent about that. I something came to mind when we talked about having a period. What about when you first have sex?
Sex.
And they said, and you hear all these songs, Betty Wright.
Betty Wright, I was talking about that was the song I was talking about.
Story that is great, but actually it was painful,
Sex
and
is
it wasn't
painful.
comfortable.
Yeah.
You couldn't get right, and we keep silent about those things.
Well, I told the truth.
Yeah, I did too.
So
I wasn't.
I told the truth.
I said that's
They
not
were
comfortable.
told the stone cold truth
Yeah.
about losing, or I don't say losing, gaining
Yeah.
love
Mhm.
through their virginity.
Yeah.
I told the truth.
Yeah.
That it's
Well, you
physically
see,
painful.
That's
that
right.
there is some,
Yeah, of course.
you know, recovery period.
Yes.
You want to do it when you are in your right mind. You're not drinking, smoking, whatever.
Right.
Love is an important element of it. Like
course.
we went through that whole thing because I didn't want to repeat what I had seen happen in our community
There you
over and
go.
over again,
There
where
you go.
sex is not talked about, and then it happens, and then everyone's trying to pick up the pieces
Right.
afterwards.
Yeah, because there is damage. There is damage after that. Absolutely.
Of course,
It's very
especially if no one
good.
talks about it.
Absolutely.
well, that's true. In another section of my book, The Silence Between Women, I talk about a young woman
Mm-hmm.
who was doing exceptionally well, and her raised by her grandmother, who taught her and informed her of things, of what to be aware of with her body, and gave her some life skills. Most importantly, she said, get your education, read. The young woman did this, and her grandmother and mother told her both, because the fathers died in the war. So it left the mothers to raise them. Anyway, what happened was the girl was going to school. She met someone. She got pregnant. She had the baby. Grandmother was devastated.
To say the least.
Didn't say anything. Just shut down. Gave her no more information. Knowledge stopped. So the silence began there, because it was something in the grandmother that brought up those feelings.
Right.
To keep still now. She was keeping still. The mother, in turn, has to raise the child. And grandmother died. Mother raises the child, goes on, puts the child in the best school she can.
Mm-hmm.
And the child excels. And mother is a domestic engineer. In other words, a housekeeper, janitor, whatever you want to use.
Right.
The young girl was ashamed of her mother. She says, why do you look like that? Why don't you put on another dress? Don't come to my school. Now the mother worked hard, put her in private school so she can excel. One thing that she didn't do was appreciate her mother. Silence became between them. They didn't discuss. They didn't talk about anything. The daughter wound up graduating, did not invite her mother to the graduation. She showed up anyway. She ignored her mother. Mother was consistent. She went on, the daughter, got a degree, got a job, and wound up working. In the event, because the daughter did not talk to her mother, she wound up being seduced by the employer. Now she was pregnant. She tried to approach the employer, and he said to her, basically,
Deal with it.
you know, you're causing a hostile work environment, and fired her. She didn't know her rights or anything. We talk about a little bit of that, but there's more to it than that. But the gist of it is, she disowned her mother, basically, who went through everything. And the reason her mother didn't finish school was because she was pregnant with her. Her mother taught her, stay in school, hit your books, but she forgot what the grandmother had taught the mother, appreciation and honesty and openness.
So what can we do now to change this?
Because you know we're going to get some comments.
Real talk, real solutions.
We'll have some comments, and we've been talking about young women.
Yes.
Now there's some older women. Glad you brought up the old women,
Yes.
but there's also older women in this category too. We're talking about,
sure.
so that needs to be addressed too, because that sounded like that sounded like Cabin in the Sky to me. I was like, what is she talking about, Cabin in the Sky?
Yeah.
So I was like, it sounded like Cabin in the Sky, but how do you deal with that? How do you now? We got all of this mishmash, right? Mishmash, and we got it. And some of us have gone through it, some of us have not. I'm sure a lot of the viewers have gone through it. Now what do? What is it that we see the generational curses? What's going on? How do we stop it from escalating again. Now we're in the fourth generation, because this is what I'm hearing you saying. Now we're passing that down to fourth generation. How do we know right now, and where we stand in whatever we're dealing with no silence? How do we now readdress that?
Women are still silent.
I understand that.
Okay. Women are still silent because now what women are doing to stop being able to unite, they're seeing themselves as different.
Right.
Okay? And because they're seeing themselves as different, well, I'm not like that. That doesn't bother me.
Well, that's how the silence continues, is
Yeah,
when
right,
we get subjective and say, because I'm different, you don't understand, and all that.
Right.
Those are the barriers. So what's the prescription?
The prescription is going to have to take a while, and it's basically a case-by-case basis. But the women have to be wanting to understand what they have to come to their own self-truth. And until a person can come to their self-truth, they can either do it by counseling, they can either talk about
discovery,
by talking to someone who's not a therapist, sometimes, to understand what is it. If I were to come to you and say, how can I break the cycle? I've had 3 children by 3 different men. What do I need to do in order that I don't have to work so hard?
Right.
And keep my
children. And see, I go, like I said, I look at everything in so many different perspectives. And I say, that situation, what do I do? How do I break the cycle with, children? Or I saw an article recently about women that cut other women from their lives. And the dynamic behind that. This stay away from me. Arm's length, pursuit of friendship. How do we get beyond that? And one of the things, it said time. And self-illumination. It said that the person has to be willing to be in a safe place, to be vulnerable, and to discover about themselves, to figure out what the next step is. And we want an instant answer.
And there's no IG, instant gratification.
No.
There's no IG.
No.
And I keep trying to tell people, you can't Google it, you can't IM it, you can't Facebook it. You're not going to get the answers there. You're going to have to talk to a real woman who is ready to give that information. On my blog, Sister Circle, I do that. But it's a small
I disagree with both of you.
Well,
that wasn't my opinion.
No,
that's what the article said.
I disagree with that.
I have another opinion about it completely, but
I'm just saying. But I disagree with that because as soon as you ask yourself that question, because I've asked myself that question.
What question?
What do I do to break the
cycle?
I know what, when we ask that question, we know the answer.
Are you willing to face it? The problem is most women are not willing to face the answer.
Not most. I wouldn't agree with most. I will agree with
many.
Yeah, many, but not most. Because, like you're saying, some could go to somebody and kind of get direction because they have not received it from their family members. That type of direction. But I believe that the answer lies in you. How do I stop that? That's an easy thing to do. Behind it would be, why am I doing it in the first place?
That's true. But you see, I have to start from where they are.
Right.
And if I start from where they are, I understand I've got to listen to all the baggage.
Right.
I've got to regurgitate that.
Right.
And sift it, and be able to give them the skills, or help them develop the skills to move out of that box, so that they can be free.
Right.
But it takes time to do that. And if you go down any one of these streets, when you see a girl pushing the baby carriage, the cell phone in her hand, and the child is looking, where is the attention? Where is the attention?
While she pushed the baby.
That's where you've got to start. And she's a teenager. And prior to that, you've got so many other influences. So I say to you, you're going to have to start, and it is just like building a house. You're going to have to get a good foundation. And with that foundation, we have to start all over. Because we have left everything behind. Everything has gotten so fast with technology people don't realize they don't talk to each other.
Right.
They FaceTime each other. They WhatsApp. They Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people need to find a place where they can come and be able to talk and discuss and learn. And they have to be willing. And just because we're talking about it doesn't mean everybody's going to like what we say.
Oh,
You know,
absolutely.
that, you know, because on my blog, Sister Circle, I say things that are hardcore. People are not.
But Denise, here's the thing, is, and Nicole and I had talked about this, and you can be willing to have a discussion, but you only do it surface. And is that really going to clear the way? Surface, like
That's my experience.
Yeah, you know, is it really going to clear the surface? Okay, you say, you know, I'm sleeping with this one and that one. Okay, but you haven't discussed, when you do go to these counseling sessions, you say, oh, well, I had a hard week this week, and this one did this one, and it's so surface. But are you really willing to dig at the undertones? Are you really willing to go straight in? Because a shovel does. If you keep you dig into something or dig a hole, you dig at the top like this. If you don't push that,
dig in, put your foot on the trowel.
And I don't see that. There's no digging in and finding out what the real reason. Yes, I'm sleeping around. Yes, my mother is, you know, not teaching me. But when do you take responsibility? And yes, all of us are not going to grow at the same time, because we know in our sisterhoods that we have, all of us are not at the same level.
Different places.
So
very different.
What could we give to somebody at this moment? One step that they can take. I know you want to reveal that, you know, you want to share and you want to give counseling, but give them one solid step that when they get to that point and say, everything is just like falling apart. What is it that I do?
The first thing that I suggest that a person really does, if they really want to look, is to get in the mirror and look at themselves. Because they can only see themselves. Not everybody else.
Right.
Nobody else is in their ear. Silence around them.
Right.
And to look for at least 3 minutes. If you can stand and look at yourself for 3 minutes.
3 minutes?
3 minutes. Not, you know, but to look at yourself. I mean, you know you gotta blink and whatnot, but to think about one thing that has bothered you as to why you continually do that thing instead of making that turn when you should have gone straight.
Right.
That's the first step
of
self-actualization.
Right. Okay.
I think it's important, you know, to look at the silence between women as we were talking today. We touched on this a little bit in our book, Move Higher in Your Purpose, when we talked about choices, and choices being conscious. We like to think that we're automatons, that we just operate without thinking. And that is true possibly after a while. But for most of us, our decisions to share, not share, love, not love, sleep with someone or not, like you were sharing, would have a child or not, these are conscious decisions.
Absolutely.
And being honest about the decisions and the results of those decisions, I think is very challenging and a high calling for many people, not just women. I think it's a very high calling, because a lot of people that I meet are asleep, and they want to stay comfortable. They don't want to hear anything uncomfortable. They don't want to talk about anything that makes them vulnerable or appear imperfect. And, you know, I let it go because I'm doing my work. So I don't get anything out of stripping someone else down. I'm doing my work. I'm continuing to do my work. But this silence between women, this is very serious, because it's between us and it's in us. And we're silent in here.
There you go.
And then we do it to each other and others that we connect to, husband, wife, child, grandchild, sister, brother. We do that. We reenact that same feeling inside. And you can sit and say to yourself, you know, I wonder, is this something that I'm experiencing, or is this something that I'm reacting to?
And that's a good point. Because
is it an experience or is it a reaction?
It's a reaction.
And most times it's a reaction. And that's what I'm learning now.
In reaction.
But you gotta realize
it's to experience and not react.
Right.
The thing that is happening though is that most young women, and I have to say most, you may agree or disagree, don't have the skills. And it's now up to us to give them some type of, again, foundation, which builds the skills for them to do that. They've got to want to, without being seduced by that TV show, whatever.
That is seduction.
Okay.
The television, those reality shows are seductive.
And to be seduced in a way that they learn to carry on the buffoonery.
And it is buffoonery and trickeration.
Okay. Without knowing their history. Because when one loses the idea of self-worth, you are easily manipulated into their dance, whatever it is, whether you think being a high-priced call girl, the best deliverer of cocaine, crack, whatever, or the best drinker. I can out-drink her. Let me go ahead and swing it on down. I can drive home.
I got a wooden leg.
Okay.
That's what they used to say back then. A wooden leg.
Whatever. Those, we have to look at that. And the young women today, everything begins with the woman. And I say this, and I'm going to close on this remark. Whether you agree or disagree, I hope that the people coming to you will go ahead and say, blast off. We're going
take off.
Okay? A woman is the one that is the symbol of life, the life giver. She's the first one to imprint on that child. Man does his thing by passing out the scars. He may or may not be there, but he leaves her over here. And from the one who is, by the grace of God, the creator of life, is left with nothing else to hold, no knowledge to hold, to pass on. And from that, there's a destruction that follows suit, which is, I can't raise this boy by myself. I can't raise this girl by myself. And then all of a sudden, I can't be by myself. And you were by yourself when you had that child.
Okay, we're getting off of silence now.
No, this is where it begins. From the
being alone and being single is different.
Being the silence is what I'm talking about.
The
silence of creation, of stifling that creation.
Okay.
That's where it begins. Okay.
All right.
So take it.
Well,
It
sounds good to me. I was just thinking when you kind of got off and made me forget about what I was going to say. One of the mothers in the church name was Mother Lee, and she always said, you can pretend, you can get involved in anything you want to get in. She said, she's called it television. Get involved with that. You can get involved with dance. Television. She took, she get all involved with all of that. But one thing I know for sure, and she said, time will slow walk you down. Yep. So that time will slow you down to the point that this is what you're going to do. Now, I got all of these children, and you're going to face yourself. You're going to face yourself. When you get to that slow walk time, and like you said, alone and lonely and all that.
There's so many different
that
states
right
of
there,
awareness.
that awareness, just alone, that awareness of being lonely with so many people around you will slow walk you down. And you then would have to do your work.
You have to.
You have to, because you're there looking at yourself. And I've seen that with so many women in their 40s, and we've counseled women in their 40s, 50s, 60s, that time has slow walked them down, and then now, what do? I don't have this, I don't have that.
What do I have left?
Right, because they've been silent, left. Yeah, what do you have left? And then now there's a silence in them, and they're seeking out
an outlet.
Yeah, which way do I go to get, I'm silent, I'm too silent now. And I see that a lot. And maybe there is something that we can do. Like you said, we have to have that self-awareness and time. Maybe one of the
and looking in the mirror.
and looking in the mirror.
That's powerful. Looking in the mirror is powerful. And this topic, I think, silence between women. Again, I look at things from so many different perspectives because I've had friends, and even my life, I've watched the stages and phases of womanhood. Because there's definitely phases to this whole experience of being a female on this earth, being a woman on this earth.
Right.
You could be a female, you could be a woman. That's a whole nother topic.
Right.
Because I don't want to be just a female.
Right.
My life is to be whole as a woman. And this whole idea of being silent, I'm telling you, this was powerful.
Right.
This was a very important topic, and I don't think we talk about it. You alluded to the reality TV, and we'll talk more about this on other shows. But what I see is emptiness in friendships.
That's
among
correct.
young women. You know, these young women you talk about, and I'm mentoring them. I'm dealing with them either through the church or here at the chamber, or with the civic association, my various walks in life, and they're very lonely. Even with all the friends that they have, they don't necessarily have the skill to build
But they're silent. And
a friendship.
that's
They
because
don't.
they were not given the tools.
They weren't.
And they keep quiet. They're hushed.
Hush.
They are hushed.
Yep,
Well,
I
now,
agree.
the next word was shut up.
Which I can't stand.
That's another word. Be quiet, shut up, hush. Okay. Whatever was thrown at them has ingrained that so that they don't know how to say, well, Nicole, what do I do if this,
Tell me what you think.
yeah. They won't do that. And some of them won't do it because, young girls won't do it because this one over here, Peaches, is going to tell Jennifer, you know what she did? They're afraid of the betrayal. So the secrets between women continue because of betrayal, people who are not loyal. There's the trust issues for themselves and for others. So there's a whole host of things and tidbits that I go into in my book, but it's hard to explain that all.
Oh no, this made sense. This made sense. Thank you. This made sense. The silence.
And the silence between one also the reactionary, and I think I experienced this the other night. We went to one of the pudgies. So the reactionary with the young women to us who are in a good space, and they see that they reactionary. It's not embracing or leaning into it like we would, or like if someone who's thirsty for that, they would lean. And the reactionary is like, what do you want? That's the agreed. And there's no space there. Then you're like shocked, like they don't even know me. Like it's like hostility comes first.
The suspicion is suspicion, insecurity, but it's not you. It is
I know
their own right in their gut. What's happening?
Of course, I know that. That's absolutely the truth.
And most people, and a lot of times with those experiences, people have had so much taken from them, or they have had a perceived robbery over their lives.
Reaction.
That anything that's seen as conciliatory, forgiving, loving, offering, kind is viewed with suspicion.
Absolutely.
It's a defense mechanism.
It's all fear.
How I equate that in some ways is the foster care system.
Please don't get me started on that.
Don't even.
No, I won't start. I'm just saying. So equate that with that.
Yes.
That's all I'm
Yes.
saying. I'm not going in that time.
Thank goodness. But yes, good point.
Okay.
Thank you. So please tune in again. We will definitely have more 360 love for you. Relationships, family, and profession. Why can't they all be connected? And we believe that they can be. Tune in next time. Our next discussion and title will be, do sex and love belong in the same bed? See you then.
See you then. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
360.
Ashe.